Good evening, afternoon, morning, and welcome back to Play the Hits, where shit is about to get real on Chris's birthday!
Wait, 38 years old.
Yay!
Shit.
Yeah,
That
happy
is
birthday,
too
buddy.
fucking close to 40, man.
40 is a different thing, 30s is
Oh.
still like, man, there's some youngness there in the beginning years,
It's like, yeah, what am I going to do when I grow up?
40 is
40's
like,
no.
definitively
You
no.
grew up and now you're old.
You grew up. You're on the other side of that equation. You do not receive advice at all. You just give it now.
Yep. Yeah, Sparks, it's my birthday. Hooray.
Here's the intro video that you get to see if you wait like 10 seconds at the title screen.
Interesting.
But it's also like it takes so much from like the end of the game that it's just like, this seems like spoilers here, but
yeah, I was gonna say that, like bit where she looked like Aya Bria and
but yeah, I feel like there's a lot here that's kind of like, you think if you had a trailer that like showed everything. I'm thinking about that Metal Gear Solid Delta trailer that shows like the entire game and all the boss battles and everything.
It shows the ending sequence, yeah.
And it's like, think if you had that. Oh yeah, Aya Brie.
Yep.
Well, you'll see who that is in a
another
minute.
Parasite Eve game?
No, after the third birthday, which I don't know if you ever played that. It was a PSP game.
I actually have it as a ROM for
gotcha.
my PSP.
Yeah, I never played it myself because I'm more interested in like the story of Parasite Eve than the look of that game. And it seems like it really just like shit the bed. I don't know if there's any of the original writers.
I'll probably give it a shot at some point. Though, I heard like a lot of the issues surrounding like the gameplay and the controls.
Yeah.
Could probably be solved if it had a second stick, which, you can map the PSP on the emulator so that essentially the right stick becomes the D-pad and you can control the camera that way. So
that's pretty cool.
Who knows? Maybe that would make it better.
Yeah, I mean, certainly play better.
Yeah. But I guess that probably wasn't its only problem, or people would have forgiven it.
I mean, it's not like I've heard it's a terrible game, but just the writing and the story is like,
yeah, because Parasite Eve, I mean, it could get a little bit up its own ass, but I always thought they had good stories. Even the second one, which I mean, the series has been kind of a downward trend since the first one.
I guess it's the first one when you think about it.
Yeah.
But I didn't think the second one was egregious, though. It was
I didn't think it was bad. In fact, there were quite a few parts of it I actually enjoyed. Like I kind of dug the more Resident Evil vibe of it.
I was just about to say, like obviously, I think Resident Evil 2 even had come out, before Parasite Eve was released.
Yeah.
But then the second one, I think they fully like had the development cycle to be like, we're gonna be like Resident Evil.
They wanted a piece of that pie.
and it shows. And you know what? It was different. It was kind of cool that it was like completely not what I was expecting from a sequel. That it's just like, I know this system. Wait, no, I don't.
Yeah.
Like,
but when you look at like some of the upgrade paths and like spell trees in that game, in a weird way, that ended up being way more indicative of like the path Square Enix would take in the 2010s onward, and they did it in '99 or whenever that game came out.
By the way, I don't know if Sparks or anyone else is here yet, but
she's here.
Okay. Oh,
that's right. You can't see her. You can't see her when you're the one who's playing.
No, I need to fix that.
Shit out.
I gotta start figuring that out.
This is freaking trippy. Are you about to enter the fucking stratosphere?
Yeah, I am.
Damn. Now here's where it goes from being like a flat texture to 3D. Sparks says hi, Max.
Hey, what's up, Sparks? There was a little glimpse of someone important back there, so I don't know if anyone caught it, but
I didn't see that. She says she's here with her tiny menace kitten.
Aw. Wait, I think you've told us. What is your kitten's name? For some reason, I heard Goliath, and it was like, Goliath? Oh, that's an interesting name.
That'd be great if she named her cat Goliath.
Yeah.
Giving me slight motion sickness. Oh, Calcifer. Oh. Nice, from Hells.
Calcifer, I love that.
That's a good one. Oh shit! 9S just ate some shit.
You okay?
Good thing I
It's okay, I'm a robot.
that direct. Uh-oh.
Kamikaze Protocol is like
All of you are
number
going
2 on
to
the list.
die.
So, in kind of a weird birthday twist, we ended up getting like a freak snowstorm this morning. And,
Okay. Worse than ours.
I'm fine.
Yeah, no, it was actually really bad. Like, drove out for morning services and got like maybe just past the gas station on the way to my house.
Yeah.
And we both like realized, oh shit, this is really bad. So we called morning services. So.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, so that was kind of nice. I played video games all morning, hung out with my family. It was a good birthday.
Nice. That is like perfect.
Yeah. Never had a snow day on my birthday before.
Right.
Well, I mean, probably when
I
I,
love
was
that.
Like, little, but I don't
Yeah.
remember it.
Well, because it was like every day was your birthday when you were little. I mean,
That's
when,
exactly right.
In hindsight, is 2020. It's kind of like, man, you just got to do the weekend all the time.
I wish you could just like walk up to somebody today and be like, "Hey, I've been good this week. Will you buy me something?"
I missed that. Yeah. I mean, maybe if Sarah's
we should
really
normalize
cool.
that in society. You like spot
We
somebody who's
should.
like
I love that.
clearly in like the top 1% of the income bracket. Like, hey, I was good this week. What you got for me?
They're still coming.
I mean, if they see us like pets, maybe they'll find it adorable. Like,
Yeah, right. I mean, there's got to be some rich people who don't like completely resent us, and it's more like, yeah, they're cute.
Pascal?
I mean, I know there's what do you call those? Like fiscal dominatrixes, because that is definitely a kink of.
You trying to say like sugar mamas? Or is it
not
something
sugar?
different?
I mean, no, because sugar mama is like you're hanging out with someone and you're basically
Paying for
offering.
sex.
I mean, yeah, basically. But this is kind of like literally, hey, you're just a pig for me. You're a piggy bank. You know, like
Interesting.
give me all your money, kind of thing.
Like, all right.
And some guys are just like, oh shit, yeah. Like,
Here
I'll
it
pay
is,
for-
take it.
I'll pay to be humiliated, and it's like, okay, cool. So maybe,
Damn, I should.
I don't know.
I could get in on
maybe.
that.
It's like, heck, is there any way we can get on that? Because that would be fucking awesome.
Some dude just hands me $100. Hey, fuck you. Thank you. God, thank you so much. Here's 100 more. You piece of shit. Is that all you got?
Oh, jeez.
Fucking hold out on me, you little bitch. No. Here's more. Damn.
See, like, you would be naturally good at that. Like,
Sparks writes, I'm not above being a rich person's sugar pet without the sex or physical contact. So in other words, you absolutely are above it, Sparks.
I love that though. Like, that would be. Can we make that happen somehow?
That's like saying, yeah, I'd love to do scat fetish as long as I don't have to touch pee or poop.
And it was someone
No.
else's scat.
Then no, you wouldn't.
All right, wait a second. I know I'm not supposed to be stuck here. Things just moving around.
Yeah, no, people get their jollies from some weird places sometimes,
Yeah, they do. I guess it doesn't discriminate, rich or poor.
right?
We're all wired in some fucked up way.
Yeah, that's right. I was gonna say, there but for the grace of God.
Oh, dude, I'm rewatching just the OG Castlevania. And fuck, that is a good show. Like,
Oh, I thought you were gonna take this to like when Alucard just gets violated.
no, I haven't gotten there yet. That's really sad. No, just the writing and the relationship. Like, I can't think of Alucard in any other way now
Here too.
than how they wrote him in that show. Like, it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
I
it
don't
really
know,
gave
like-
his character some depth.
some depth, and maybe some much needed depth, because I don't know. I love Symphony of the Night, but I don't think of Alucard as like, man, he's such a
Vulnerable
well-written
in any way.
character.
Yeah, he's very one note. He's like, I'm here to kill my dad. I'm gonna kill my dad.
Killing dad and chewing gum.
I'm just here to kill dad.
So yeah, the writing of that show, I feel like invented an Alucard in a way. It's
Absolutely.
And a Trevor
and honestly,
too.
like,
You know,
from Castlevania as a series, it really gets to invent the characters however it wants. Like,
yeah,
Trevor
honestly,
Belmont was an 8-pixel nobody, like with a whip. Like, he did not have any kind of personality, and they completely gave him one. Same with Alucard, honestly. Though he had, he had voice acting, he had motivation,
voice acting,
with, like his mom and whatnot. But really, we joked about it, but he was just there to kill his dad. You know?
Yeah.
Dad's got to die. I'm the one who'll kill him. Sparks
And
lets
it's just
know
like
it's like being a cat. Someone else pays my bills and gives me food, and I smack the shit out of them if they get too close. There you go.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, now we're just back here again.
But yeah, that's the wild thing. I mean, somewhere out there's someone who will pay for that shit to go down.
Yeah.
It's not like, I don't know. I'm not kink shaming. I'm kink asking why. You feel me? Like, it doesn't bother me like scat, but it's like, what are you getting out of this?
Yeah.
I know you two.
Yeah, look.
What's this doing for you, Jeremy? It seems like a Jeremy kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like,
As far as I'm concerned,
I can't imagine,
was
like, economically disadvantaged people actually having this fetish. I think it's just something of just, you don't get this in your life, and you want to know what it feels like, and you don't get rejection or, like, feeling ashamed like that until you're much later in life, and so maybe you never learned how to properly feel it. It's all fucked up.
Yeah, that's true.
What is it?
Speaking of all fucked up, you just smacked the shit out of Eve.
Yeah, right?
It's happening
Seems
again,
such a
where like he doesn't
blasphemous-
realize he's dead.
He doesn't realize. Another great Castlevania line. Come on, you're dead.
Get anywhere like this.
Figure it out that you're dead.
You're out, you're dead.
Me up to be.
Sparks, they weren't told no enough as a child, maybe? Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be.
And so it's novel in that way.
That was a thing in Watchmen, right? Where the dude wanted Rorschach to punish him, so he dropped him down an elevator shaft.
Yeah. Oh shit.
That was one of the best lines in that book and movie. It was very well delivered in the movie.
What? Not
Like, whatever
not
happened to him? I think
Moloch.
Rorschach dropped him down an elevator shaft. Like, that's not funny. It's funny.
I think I gotta let him heal.
You gotta
killing him
let
too
him
much.
have a chance.
There we go.
There you
All
go.
right. Sorry. Sorry.
Now he'll figure it out. He's
Or maybe I need
"Can
to
you at least
hack
let
the
me
shit
finish
out of
this
him?"
really cool attack? Go on.
Oh yeah. This is definitely what I had to do.
Ah, yeah. Hey, by the way, speaking of really cool endgame attacks, I'm finally getting into the endgame of Metaphor Refantasio.
Ooh. Yeah, how you liking
only
it?
106 hours in.
Of course, yeah.
Granted, it's one of those things where, like, I'm doing every possible side quest and character relationship.
That's yeah.
Like,
That's
I'm
definitely
leaving-
how I'm playing Rebirth too.
Yeah, like, I'm not doing a new game plus. This is my playthrough.
Not for many years anyway.
No, it's kind of like Persona 5, one of my favorite games of all time, bar none. I have not done a second playthrough of that game at all.
I
Just
get
because
it.
it is such a time commitment.
It is huge. Ugh.
I
mean, I just-
because like they're not as big a time commitment, but I can play a couple of different Final Fantasies like multiple times through in a year and not bat an eye.
Yeah,
but
spend just
there's
as
like
much
a
time.
real difference between a 40 to 50 hour RPG and a 100 to 120 hour RPG. It's just
For sure.
it's the difference between like a 2 to 3 week playthrough versus like a 2 to 3 month playthrough.
Yeah. And it took me a while to replay that game in the Royal version. I had heard it was shorter, but adding that third semester just brings it right back up. You know?
Yeah, I bet.
What's everything to me? My life was contained in our
So that game took me what, about 150 hours, something like that.
The worst part of this is like, and not the worst part, but like, I'm still in my Sega kick. And so right after this, I fully intend to go right back in and finish Persona 3 because that was just getting really good for me when Metaphor landed in my library. And it was one of those things where like I intended to start Metaphor and you know, just like see what it's all about. And I'm like, nope, gotta play through this all right fucking now. And so pretty much for the last 2 months, that's what I've been doing.
Awesome.
I mean, I've been playing like little bits of other games just as like palate cleansers, but by and large, it's been nonstop Metaphor.
I hope I have to look because I know there's some good RPGs coming out this year. There's like obviously the Dragon Quest HD remakes, 2D or 2.5 HD.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But then there's also what is that Claire Obscura or Expedition 33?
That's gonna be probably a day one purchase.
That game just looks too fucking cool. Like it just I don't know.
It does,
like a Mario RPG, but with like really good graphics,
right? And
a story I like,
serious story, right? But one of those old. It reminds her of one of those old defragging screens.
What's that? The hacking
mini
space?
game that you were just doing, yeah.
Gotcha. A little bit, yeah. You know what? With all the blocks and everything, for sure. All right, let's do it again.
He really hasn't figured out that he just doesn't have a prayer, does he?
Poor thing.
Huh, you poor lamb. There's another game. Man, there is so many Square Enix like PS1 titles that they haven't really mined for remakes or remasters yet, and
oh yeah,
Xenogears of course is another big one.
That's a complicated one, but you know what? Fucking Mario RPG, they made it happen. So I bet they could do Xenogears.
They could probably do anything. The only thing is though, I think with the Xeno license, it could be kind of tricky.
Yeah,
because they straight up don't own Xeno anymore.
Yeah, they would have to license it from the people they sold it to.
Yeah, right.
Or I guess because then those people sold it to other people, didn't they?
Yeah. So it was Namco for a while. Now it's Monolith Soft. Or no, that's the studio. Shoot, who owns Xenosaga or Xenoblade now?
Who did Xenoblade? Well, or wait, was Monolith Xenoblade?
Who did the Xenosaga? Was Xenosaga, and then whoever's doing Xenoblade still owns them. And Xenoblade is a really successful series. Like I'm glad that it's morphed into something, but I'm still just a little bit resentful for anything like bearing the Xeno name that doesn't give me more of Xenogears story, because that was such a.
I mean, there's the Xenogears story, but I know Xenosaga definitely like made an effort to say this is the same universe.
Yeah,
not
more
just
so
using
than
the name.
Xenoblade for sure.
Yeah, Xenoblade. It's like they're just literally using the name, right?
Yeah,
like, I don't think
it's literally just like some themes from the game that carry over. Sparks writes, "Why was there blood if he was a robot?" Don't ask questions, Sparks.
They put blood in these things. I don't know why, but
was that movie with Robin Williams where he was a robot and he wanted to be human?
Was that? No, that wasn't AI. That was with what's his name?
Bicentennial Man.
Bicentennial Man. Yeah, I never watched that one.
It was. I mean, for some reason, I think I remember Dad took me to see it.
Okay.
I think we both thought it was going to be a comedy. I was like, oh crap! Like I was maybe like 10 or 11 years old when that came out. I'm like, shit, I'm feeling things.
He's like, Dad, what is life?
Yeah, right. What does it mean to be a human? I mean, that's like the whole question. That's right. And the spoiler alert for a 30-year-old movie you're never gonna watch. The ending is him actually. Fuck yeah, I want to die.
I love that.
Right. The ending of the movie is Robin Williams' character. Sorry, I'm just a little turned on.
No, I know. Oh, they're there again.
He becomes human by like essentially giving himself all human parts. So it's like he's just an exoskeleton and a brain, but he's like pumping blood. He's got organs and everything. So essentially, he can at a certain point fail, and he does, and that's the story.
Okay,
like that's the only. Even though he was.
It seems a little cuckoldy. Sorry.
Yeah, just a little bit.
with the little girls watching.
Right. Choke him more.
But
Also, why
so
does choking him kill him? He doesn't breathe.
You know what, Chris? You can just shut up, okay?
Where does he get the human parts, Sparks? So he actually, so one of the plot pieces in the story is he actually, he becomes very human throughout the movie. Like, he can feel emotions and all the things. And then he also, like, they tell him, no, in order to be a human, you have to be able to innovate and invent. So he innovates and invents, essentially, like, replacement organs for like cancer patients and everything.
Oh, cool.
And like jumps medical science forward like 500 years. But the side part of that is he does it so that he can give himself those organs and become human, right? And so he's like, okay, so now I have all of the same organs and pieces as you. Am I human yet? And they're like, no, you have to be able to die. And so he pumps himself. He goes to a blood bank and puts blood in himself and essentially makes himself mortal.
Some alive?
But it's also like
all throughout the movie,
whose opinion was he
it's asking
trying
the
to
question like
garner?
what actually constitutes a human being, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so like the slightly cynical answer at the end is like, well, is it death or is it something more? It's actually a pretty good movie. Like I think it was.
Yeah.
I don't think it made as big of a splash as they were hoping it would, but no, it was actually pretty good. If I'm remembering right, I actually definitely got something out of Bicentennial Man.
I mean that sounds like I want to watch it now. You know,
yeah,
like,
you should check it out. I mean,
and it's one of those movies you like. I can remember what the like art of it looked like on the cover of like the tape, but it's just like I totally forgot that movie existed.
Yeah,
you
right?
know, until you said that.
So did I until right now.
It's also
that's
like
actually really weird. That's one of those things. God damn, 2B. That's one of those things where like I literally hadn't given any of my brain power to this movie in multiple decades, and like all of a sudden it kind of came rushing back.
Yeah, it sounds good.
It's weird at this age that can happen.
Yeah, that you have that many years that you kind of feel the weight of it coming back.
Yeah,
like oh
things that you tucked away and completely forgotten about. Just like, oh yeah, this is relevant now.
We're old enough to forget about something for decades.
Right.
That's something.
It's like, oh yeah.
Think about how is this in Japan, where you could say like, yeah, so like 3 eras ago.
Yeah, right.
Like that just sounds like in the Showa era, you know.
I'm gonna start saying cycles.
Okay.
12 cycles ago. Fuck's that mean?
Can we just call it like what? About how many years every year does it take for a PlayStation to come out? Like if averaging 7 or 8. Well, is like the PS2 era. You remember the PS2 era, man?
Yeah, back in era 2. Yeah.
Back in era 2. There you go.
Sparks writes the Barbie movie did it way, but I still haven't seen the Barbie movie.
Neither have I.
Yeah, I heard it was good.
It's one of those things where it's just like, I don't know. I think it's gonna be really good, but is it gonna like depress me in our modern day? Like, I've been wanting to watch like what do you call it? Handmaid's Tale on Hulu.
Okay.
And it's just like, okay, that'll be a hard watch because it'll be kind of scary in that way, but I really want to see it. And now I'm just like, fuck, I don't know if I can watch that, like, because some of it's already happening. Basically, it's just like, oh, like,
yeah,
but yeah. Anyway,
dude, you know what actually kind of bummed me out a little bit? Sarah and I started watching Parks and Rec again, just casually, like before bedtime. And I love that show so much, but for some reason this time I'm just a little bit depressed because of like that show was made 10 to 15 years ago. We were
something like that, yeah.
We were so freaking optimistic at the beginning of the 2010s, and we have completely lost that as a culture.
That's true.
But like all the things in that show are all about just like people coming together and like you remember the final season where it jumps forward to the year 2017?
Yeah.
And like the joke was like at the rate that we're going, this is what cell phones will look like and tablets, and then by the time we're senior citizens, we can expect all of this amazing technology and medicine to be available. And now it's just looking like, yeah, probably not. And that's just really sad.
Yeah.
Not
I
that
get
the
it.
show itself is sad, but the fact that in 2 election cycles, if we want to go by
and, like,
cycles, we've completely
collective-
lost that. Like, as a society, we are not optimistic at all. We're just
That's
like,
interesting.
okay, who is going to survive the meat pile and be on top of the scraps, right? It's got to be
So, like,
white
by
men,
watching-
right? No, it's
By watching the show, you're kind of like tapping into the pulse there of like what we were feeling
yeah.
as like a culture, as like a nation. This is very like U.S. centric, but yeah, it's interesting that it's just like, yeah, we were really optimistic.
Yeah, and
I
it's
remember
not like
when
it was
Obama
trying
got
to be,
elected.
like, overtly, I mean, it was a very optimistic show, but it's
Sure.
not like it was trying to be overtly political or anything. It's just like it reflected the culture that it was written into, and so like when people thought about just politics and like where society was going,
Yeah,
it's like, of course we're going to become more accepting and more nurturing, and we're gonna all have a seat at the table kind of thing, and we've completely lost that in just a decade.
yeah.
Sparks hasn't. She says, "Speak for yourself. I haven't given up yet." That's great, Sparks, but I just mean like culturally, like that's not the conversation anymore. Like that doesn't mean we should give up by any means, but like that's just not the way that we're thinking as a society right now. And it's and like I said, it's kind of a bummer that we just gave that up.
Just be careful.
I'm hoping we'll get back there.
I
mean,
hope
and-
we do
and-
too. I don't
Yeah.
see a way to it, at least in the next 4 years. But
Yeah, life is long. Surprisingly, we're still
we're still young.
pretty young in the grand scheme of things.
And like
But,
assuming like Trump doesn't completely, or RFK doesn't completely torpedo medical technology, we can still probably look forward to a longer lifespan than the generations that came before us. So
I'm
Maybe.
hoping. I know that's like recently kind of reversed, but
yeah,
think
I was
we'll
gonna
get
say
back there.
statistically though, a lot of people our age are killing themselves, unfortunately.
well, there's that too.
But that's self-inflicted.
Remember your pain.
We got to survive out of spite. Yeah, I agree.
Mhm.
Spite is a powerful
There's that.
motivator.
Spite is a motivator.
We will
Yeah,
take back the
and
seas,
we can't give in to despair.
No, I'm sorry. Was
Well,
2B just wearing a jetpack in that last scene?
Yeah, but you'll see that in like 10 seconds.
We will not
Okay.
give
Oh,
up
okay.
mission.
All right.
Here and now, we will put an end
Don't know
to
what this
the
is, but
war.
it's
They
AI.
wanna It's like, it'd be funny if this was like, hey, Kingdom Hearts style, we're showing you a preview for the next game, and it's just like,
or like the
hey, you want to
concept
play
that we
this?
have for the next game's theme. I fucking hate Kingdom Hearts trailers.
But
I'm
for
sorry.
that, yeah, no, I agree. I only like Kingdom Hearts because it was like such a big part of my teenage childhood.
Yeah, no, I get that.
But
Their story writing
they're
is
we-
fucking shenanigans.
it is. It's shit. And it's just like, this has been planned from the beginning. No, it has. You're flying by the seat of your pants every time.
Yep.
And retconning
100%.
things in the weirdest ways. Yeah,
Never
it's-
before has a series been so loosely constructed with such a diligent fan base dedicated to making sense out of it.
But,
Which is
man,
even
those first
weirder
two
when you
games
think
were a
that
lot
this
of
is
fun.
the fucking Mickey Mouse Final Fantasy game.
Right? Like, you wouldn't expect it.
You know?
I kind of get that Disney, like, honestly, in recent years, they've been more accepting, like, hey, we're going to throw Keyblades as hidden Mickeys in our shows and stuff. But for a long time, it was like, here's our games division, and you can stay over there. You are not going to be at our parks. You're not, like, we're not going to make toys out of you, basically.
Right.
But it seems like they're a
We're
lot
sure
more
shit not
friendly with
selling
Kingdom
Sora
Hearts.
at the parks. Now they do.
And now they are.
Yeah. Sparks writes, you weren't in the Homestuck fandom, were you? Wait, Homestuck fandom? What's
Oh
that?
no, Homestuck's a big thing. It's weird because it's such a big thing, and I never heard of it growing up.
I don't know what
It wasn't
this is
until like
at all.
2020. It's a web comic, but it's like a whole little like culture behind
Alright.
it. I was gonna say little culture, like so dismissively. This there's a lot to it. So, and I don't know much about it at
What's the premise? I mean, like, what's the
I
bare
don't
bones?
know.
I don't know. You're asking the wrong guy.
Like, I don't know if they're demons or what, but
All
I
right,
have
Sparks
no
is about to
idea.
give us a breakdown here.
Thank you.
Okay, so basically,
Server administrator 3F.
she stops writing.
Like, you know what? It's not worth it.
4 kids play a video game that destroys the world. Uh-huh.
Oh, cool. Already I'm into it.
I'm here. I feel it. This armor is pretty sick.
Right? Oh, yeah, this is I don't know if I talked to her much in this playthrough, but she's always sick.
So wait, you're 2B again? I thought you were gonna be what's her name?
E2?
Yeah.
I'm 2B for now.
For now. All right. In order to get the world back, they have to essentially break the game. All right. So Sword Art Online, gotcha.
Maybe a little bit. They hack into the game.
By the way, I have seen
the
first episode of Sword Art Online, so I am not qualified to speak about it in any way, shape, or form.
The first episode, though, does a really good job of getting you into the show.
You know what?
Like,
I was going to say,
this
it
premise.
does. It hooks you. Only apparently it didn't hook me very well, because I was like, oh, that's cool. I got to watch more of that. Cut to 8 years later.
You know what? I mean, sometimes it's smart, though. Like, I bet if I watched the first episode of Game of Thrones, like when it first came out, I would have been like, "Fuck, dude, I gotta be invested for the next 10 years of this."
You know, that's kind of exactly what I was. Oh, now you're. What's his face again?
Yeah, 9S.
They need to call them something different.
Good job.
No, so like,
Why are you talking to me like I'm a child?
I've become so protective of like my media time.
Yeah.
Because it's like more precious than it's ever been at any point in my life, that I will not commit to a show unless I know exactly how many seasons of it there are, and if that number is less than 10, right? So like, like I need a very clear start and end point, and like, you know, it has to be viewable within like 6 months or so, because I'm not gonna dedicate that much of my time to something.
Yeah.
Or like
even though
I
it's
can't,
just like,
or I won't do anything. It's kind of like the same reason I don't replay RPGs that are over a certain length, even though I really like them. Like,
yeah. And even though you'll fill your experience the same amount of time with like just more numerous experiences.
Exactly.
Which, I mean, that's the thing. That's not necessarily confusing.
No. But I also
like,
don't
maybe
want to
that's
be one
what
of
you
those
prefer.
people that's
Like,
just like, one day I'll watch them, and like putting it off until I retire, and then I'm like, oh god, I'm at life's end.
no.
when I can finally actually experience and watch all these things that I've been wanting to check out. Sparks continues. In the process, they meet a group of 12 other kids from another planet that also played the game and destroyed the world, but failed miserably at winning the game and getting their world back. Then things get really weird. All right.
Way to go.
That sounds like a cool premise.
So, yeah, so far it's tracking.
Move on to the next one.
Fine.
Wait, what's that?
I said so far it's tracking. Like I can make sense of it. There are also
Yeah.
several century-long battles going on in the form of giant chess games. Interesting.
Also, I wonder if this video game that they played ended up being like, I don't know, not of this world or something.
Yeah.
But
Oh god, I didn't even tell you. By the way, at the same time that I'm playing Metaphor and I've got all these big game projects that I need to catch up on, I'm freaking reading Wind and Truth, the
Yeah.
5th book in the Stormlight Archives.
oh, this is the one that was continued by the author's son.
No, this is Brandon Sanderson's like big project, and
Okay.
there are those books that are like, you know, solid bricks of like 1,000-page novels, and yeah. So they're huge time commitments, but I really do enjoy the story. The problem I have with Sanderson, I think I shared this with like you and Christy and Nick when you guys were over here. He gets like, you know, there's long books that are long because they flesh out their story in like really incredible ways. Sanderson, he creates really good worlds, and like his central plot is what's keeping me reading. But at the same time, he's like obsessed with the idea of developing like several stories in one book.
Okay.
So like
I mean,
every
all of them
character
equally
that you
important,
transition
or
to
no?
has something like completely different going on, and you're constantly jumping between them. So it feels like the main plot, the one that's like actually pushing the narrative of the series forward, is like just one part that you only visit every couple of chapters. And so I'm making it sound worse than it is. They're actually really good books and I enjoy them.
Unit 9S,
But that can be a frustration when reading him.
Units, not destroy them. Destroyed units will
Is every story feel like it's part of the main story, or that
No.
some of them are
Like
side
some
stories
yes,
that
some
just
no.
end?
Like some of them very clearly interlap or overlap with the main story, and you know, like the characters like will directly interact with each other. Others are kind of a bit more nebulous, and there's always like a point at the end of the book where it all pays off, and it's like, oh, that's why we were watching that character do that thing.
Oh, okay.
And it is cool how it all comes together, but man, it takes you 1,200 pages to get there, which is like, you know, 5 normal books.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad that most of the time it's not like a Last Jedi situation where it's just like they went to that Finn went to that planet for a reason, and
oh god, and then it just like collapses. It's like, yeah, it wasn't really a thing.
no, it wasn't anything. It's like, ugh.
Oh man, yeah, that was bad.
But yeah, it still sounds like that's a huge time commitment, and you like need to trust that they're going somewhere. With all
It
the
is,
story.
yeah, and I do, and I'm getting near the end of Wind and Truth, and I still don't quite see where it's going, but I think I am hooked though.
Okay.
Like I want to see where it's going, but I'm starting to get a little bit concerned he's gonna leave us hanging.
Yeah.
For another, because I know the way that he envisioned this series was 2 timelines. So like the first 5 books that he's been writing for the last decade are the first half of this series, and then there's supposed to be like a major time skip, and like all of the things that happen in the first books, we're gonna see how they like played out later on in history or something like that. But I'm a little bit worried that a lot of the things that have been building up in the last 4 books aren't really gonna get the conclusion that I would like. Which again, like I don't mind a long series of books, but you know, if like the whole selling point of the first 5 was that, you know, it is a full story, and then I'm gonna tell a second full story in the same universe. I want that first full story to actually get a satisfying conclusion before going into part 2.
Yeah, I would agree. Especially if it's just like you're getting connected to these characters and everything, and you don't want it to just feel like a stepping stone. You know,
right.
Like, and the end is all that matters, you know.
Yep, I guess I'll see, you know. But that being said, though, if you ever want to give multiple months of your life to a single book, you know, you could do worse than the Stormlight Archive.
Now, you might have already mentioned this, but was this billed as being, hey, this is going to be the last of the series?
Well, yeah, the last of the first arc.
Okay.
The other problem with Sanderson is that all of his series, like he's written several like actual series of books. The guy is a freaking machine. He writes books the way that I write emails. You know, like he just cranks those suckers out. And so he's written a couple of different stories that technically all take place in the same universe called the Cosmere.
Okay.
And so he has this whole like mythology. He has like universal rules that govern magic in his books. Like it's really in-depth stuff, and it's really creative. And
love when it's consistent. You know, you actually care about building the world like a Tolkien or something.
And like characters from certain series of other books will, you know, hop dimensions and visit, you know, the Stormlight series. Like it's really
interesting.
cool. Like he's
okay.
And it's not like you have to have read Mistborn to really understand Stormlight Archive.
Mm-hmm.
But you do get more of the history of the universe if you have read them, which is kind of neat, but also kind of intimidating for people like just coming in wanting to read like a good fantasy story.
To like, how do you even start kind of thing?
Right. But honestly, like I started with Stormlight Archive part 1, and I feel like I get it.
That must be like, if writing is your passion, that must be like living out the dream.
Dude, I know. And like, to his credit, too, every interview I've seen and kind of interaction with his fans, Sanderson seems like a really cool guy.
Yeah.
Like, he just seems really laid back. The reason that he's so passionate about this fantasy universe he's created is because he grew up playing D&D, and he kind of wanted to, like, the group that he played with growing up, I guess they got really involved in their storylines and their universes to the point where, like, half the time that they were together was just spent creating backstory, and then they would spend like an hour playing the actual game.
I mean, that sounds like the most fun part to me. You know, that's really cool.
And so essentially he took that and as an adult just turned it into books.
Yeah.
Yeah, he seems like a really cool guy. Like every time someone's talking to him, like he's just as nerdy as they are, and he loves when people love his books and speculate on them. Like
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Every time someone like gives him a piece of fan art or something they made for him, he's just like, "Oh my god, this is the coolest thing ever!" And like,
that's cool.
Yeah, I know, he's just a cool guy.
God, he must be loving life.
Yeah, exactly. I hope he is.
For some reason, I'm thinking of like him talking to his friends playing D&D. It's just like, hey gang, how about if instead of doing the campaign, we just keep writing the campaigns, doing the thing we like, and it makes me think of The Simpsons with the pirates. Captain, what if instead of bearing the treasure, we used it to buy things? Things we like.
I forgot about that. But yeah, I mean, if you're ever looking for a good fantasy, check out Sanderson. Okay. But only do that after you freaking read The Name of the Wind.
Okay.
Because at least there, you're only in a two. Granted, there are two really big books, but so far it's only a 2-book commitment, and it doesn't look like Patrick Rothfuss is ever going to release the third. So.
Oh, really? When did they release the second one?
That's actually the opposite side of the Sanderson story. He's like the negative half of Sanderson. Like freaking Rothfuss is he's a brilliant writer. Like I love Name of the Wind and Wise Man's Fear. They are wonderful, wonderful books. But this dude like wrestles with constant like crippling anxiety and depression and
God.
Essentially like it's kept him for over a decade now from releasing the 3rd book in the series because like he's just convinced himself that no matter what he writes, it's not going to match up to people's expectations.
Oh no!
I know.
That's
it's actually
terrible.
Really sad.
So he's said this himself, I imagine. Like,
I mean, he's kind of alluded to it, but people who know him are like, yeah, he's just like paralyzed.
Gosh,
Which like sucks because like everyone wants him to write it, and he wants to write it, but he's just worried he's going to let everybody down, and so it's not no one wants to like hand it off to another author who doesn't have his vision either, and
of course, yeah.
The operation is underway.
And then to like complement all of this is George R.R. Martin, who from what I can understand just made his money and he's happy.
Yeah. So and it's just, are we gonna get an ending to the story? Yeah, HBO did that, didn't they?
HBO. Just watch the damn show.
Just watch the show. Oh my gosh.
Honestly, like that's kind of the vibe that I get. I don't want to talk trash about a author whose books have brought joy to so many people, but like that is the vibe that I get. Like he's just he's done. He's in his 60s, 70s. He's just done.
Yeah, I think he is. It's just kind of like, why would I be writing these nerd books when I'm
when I could be
having sex and doing a lot of blow, you know?
Right, doing a lot of blow.
Look at all this money I got, okay?
Right.
And then, yeah, you know, some people like the writing,
Well,
and
you
I'm
also
not
have
trying
to
to like
imagine,
look down
like,
on George R.
from what I
Martin.
understand, the final season of Game of Thrones was at least in part what he planned to do,
Yeah.
and everybody hated it. So now he's like, well, what the fuck do I do?
Oh, maybe.
Yeah,
That sounds
would
about
suck
right. I would
to,
be-
like, you know, give away like juicy tidbits of your book, and then only to see people like shit on it. It's like, well,
Yeah.
how the fuck would I ever write this book now?
Yeah, I get that. That's tough.
It is, yeah. But I also know way less about Martin than I do Sanderson or Rothfuss. But the Patrick Rothfuss story, like Spark says, poor guy. It is sad. Like I can't imagine. Like he's basically a victim of his own success.
Yeah.
Squadron Omega. We've gained
So when did he?
control
So
of our assigned zone.
when did he release the second book?
So get this.
Path of the Wind.
Name
okay.
of the Wind was released in 2008. Wise Man's Fear was released in 2011. So he was
Okay.
like writing diligently. Like he was on track. And then the third book in the series is supposed to be called The Stone Door. And it's supposed to conclude the series, the King Killer Chronicle.
Gotcha.
And 14 years later, here we are.
Yeah.
It's weird to think of 2011 as 14 years ago, but
Yeah, it is, because that's like, oh, wasn't I in college? I was like, I was graduating.
yeah, you
Like,
were
that's
already
nuts.
into adulthood at
Yeah.
that time. Yeah.
And that was 14 years ago.
Yep.
Oof.
We're currently pinned down by a number of
That being
leads
said,
that
though,
appear to
I
have
really
lost their
do
minds.
hope he finishes it. I hope it's a massive success, and I hope that he's able to, you know, just enjoy the fruits of his labor. And yeah.
Yeah.
But then I
And,
guess there
yeah,
was
it's
also
just-
like a couple of years ago, like a beef that he got into with his own editor or something like that, where
Oh.
like she became frustrated with him, and she's like, yeah, he hasn't written anything in 5 years, and like
Aw.
he got really upset by that, and I don't know what happened, or I think there was also a bit where like some of it is, yeah, like depression and anxiety are horrible, and they can be almost impossible to overcome. But on the other hand, there's also like when you make certain commitments, you know, you do have to honor them. So like
Yeah.
the case in point is like he there was like a big charity event like maybe 6-7 years ago now or something like that, where he made a pledge that, you know, if this charity made this amount of money and contributions, he would release a chapter from the book. And, and when people heard this, they donated like wildfire, and they like easily cleared that amount, and then he just never gave it to him.
Oh no.
And so again,
That's awful.
it's like I get it, because I've been there where like I've
Yeah.
been so anxious about something, like I just felt paralyzed with fear about it. But
Yeah.
at the same time, then I certainly wouldn't make a commitment like that if I
No.
knew that about myself.
Can you get over there and provide
Unless he felt like, oh, if I promise this, I'll have to do it or something.
Yeah, and that
It's
just
like,
freaked
I'm
him out or something. Yeah,
Yeah. Not saying that's an excuse. I'm wondering if that's why he did it, and he was just sorely
maybe.
mistaken. Like,
Yeah, Sparks writes, geez, that's a lot of pressure to put on himself. I agree, and so
Yeah.
I don't know. I hope he's all right.
Yeah, me too.
Like,
I've
and not
never-
even
I've
just because
never
I
read
want
his
the
work,
book,
but-
like I've enjoyed his work. Like all things being equal, from what little I know about him as a person, he seems like a cool dude, and you know, like as much as I've like loved and invested myself into his books, I do hope he's okay.
Yeah. Me too. Don't know the guy, but yeah.
Whereas Sanderson, I know he's okay. Like he's just like walking on clouds right now. Apparently, Wind and Truth, the fifth book in the series, is like one of, I think it is the most pre-ordered book of all time now.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Because the pre-order list has been out for like 11, 12 years or something. Or no.
No.
14?
Sanderson, like the one who like
Oh,
loves his fans
who's
and loves
actually
everything, and just
Gotcha.
my only complaint about him is how, you know, like how long he can take to get to the point.
Gotcha.
But you know, like honestly, certain books I don't mind that, and his books kind of fall into that category where I'm having so much fun just being in the universe
Yeah.
that I don't completely mind. But, you know, I don't know. Like, if I could take his 1,200-page book and pare it down to a solid 800, that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
Jeez.
Still like a big, beefy-ass book, but maybe just a little more to the point.
Yeah.
Like,
You also
leave
said aside
something
from
for
the-
the appendixes.
Yeah.
Appendices.
Aside from the side stories, that it's also just like world building he's really good at. It's
Yeah, like that is Sanderson's strength. World building, he is probably unparalleled. Like his
he can also do
worlds are phenomenal.
like side books that are more like just informatics about the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, but maybe that's not his thing. Maybe it's just like, no, I want it all in here. Like
Now, actually, are you ready for this? He's actually written 2 or 3 like side story novellas that are like 250, 300 pages.
Oh, that's awesome.
that just go into some of the side characters in the Stormlight archive that he doesn't have time to go into in like his 1,500-page books.
Yeah.
It's great.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, the
it's
editor
funny.
said I had to cut all this out, so
Though actually, just as I was thinking about Rothfuss, one thing I haven't read from him is that not too long ago, he did release a book that takes place in the same world as the King Killer Chronicle, called The Narrow Road Between Desires, and that develops like the background of a side character. So there is a glimmer of hope that he's still set on releasing that 3rd novel.
okay.
Because like it had been ages since he put anything out, and he did put out Narrow Road Between Desires. I don't know how it was. I haven't read it, but I kind of want to check it out. I just don't want to get my hopes up too much or get like really reinvested into that series. And then turns out it's going to be like another decade before the book's out.
Oh no.
I think when we get like a firm release date set on the 3rd book, that's when I'll pick up Narrow Road. But yeah,
Sorry,
I haven't
I honed
read.
in right there. I was like a little scared I wasn't gonna make it.
But yeah, I haven't read anything else since December. I've just been slowly chipping away at Wind and Truth. It is such a big book.
All right.
I'm close
You
to the
mostly
end of
just like
that,
reading
too.
at night when you go to bed, or
Yeah, like just kind of my evening, like wind down time. I'll either do that or some metaphor. So it's kind of funny because they're both like huge projects, and I've been doing them simultaneously. So
nice.
it's also funny because weirdly there is a little bit of overlap, not intentionally, but like some common themes between that game and that book. Like they both have to do with, like they're medieval fantasy civilizations that are built on top of like an ancient society that kind of very closely parallels our own.
Yeah.
And so like the question is like, oh man, is this just like the remains of Earth or something? So yeah, maybe kind of yes, kind of no.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Only a lot more magical and fun.
Sparks, that's great. Our 300-page novella, she's laughing. That's great. It's a pretty common writing exercise for breaking down writer's block to write a different story in the same universe or the same story from a
Interesting.
different point of view. Yeah. So
Makes sense.
the Narrow Road Desires explores the background of a character, as I understand it, I haven't read it, of a character named Bast, who is kind of a fan favorite in Name of the Wind and Wise Man's Fear. He's like the sidekick to the main character and like worships the ground he walks on. It's fun. But he's actually like kind of cool and mysterious himself, and yeah. I guess the book probably explores like what made him, like how they came together.
The jamming is coming from
That'd be
that
fun.
bit.
Sorry, I'm just like, that's a lot. That's
a lot.
it's a lot that I have not experienced myself, but it really sounds cool.
Oh man, dude, when you finally do read Name of the Wind, you and I are gonna have so much to talk about. It is such a perfect fantasy novel. It really is.
Okay.
Like
maybe
maybe one of the
prioritized-
most perfect books and Wise Man's Fear. Like, I kind of take them together because they, Wise Man's Fear essentially picks up, like, 2 sentences after Name of the Wind ends. Like, there's no, like, and while you were away, all this happened. He just, continues right in to the story where he left off, beat for beat. And
so that was like, what Nick was, what was the, book he was having us read for book club?
Oh, yeah, the,
Wrath of the Torturer or something?
Yeah, Shadow of the Torturer, yep.
Shadow of the Torturer. That the first 2 books are like...
The Earth of the New Sun
basically
series,
one book.
Yeah, and those really were. That was just one big book split into 4 parts, and you can kind of think of what Rothfuss is doing as pretty much the same thing. It's one gigantic book split into 3 parts, which makes it all the more frustrating that, he was able to release a sequel in 3 years and then nothing for 14 years after that.
Yeah, when you got the sequel coming that soon and it's just as meaty, it's like, yeah, you had this. This is all one go for you,
Right? Yeah. The other thing that people are a little bit like worried about is that he sets up a really big premise with Name of the Wind. It's exploring like the life of the main character, and it the title of the series is called The King Killer Chronicles.
Okay.
After the second book, we still don't know who the king is that he's supposed to have killed, or really anything even resembling kind of that main story beat. Like, from the very beginning of the novel, it's like, I was a great adventurer, I came into the king's service and I killed him, and now I've had to go into hiding.
Yeah.
What are you doing here?
Like, none of that has been explored in the slightest. Like, it's kind of been like part like boy travels the world and finds himself kind of story, part like Harry Potter magic school kind of story.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
But nothing having to do with like the king or a war or anything where like political intrigue yet.
So what is that first book about?
It's essentially like telling the story of how he came into his education and started to develop a flair for magic.
Okay.
If I could describe it succinctly, it's way more deep than that, and the story itself is just awesome.
Okay.
Also talks about like the girl that he loves and everything, and she's kind of a piece of work.
Okay. I'll prioritize that over, because I had like the Gus Marino book. What was that?
No,
the thing
read Gus
between us.
Marino first. This thing between us. That'll, like, when you pick that up, I guarantee you, you're gonna be so hooked that you'll blast through that in 2 days, like I did.
Okay. I could do that.
Guarantee. Like, you could even do that one in maybe a Saturday afternoon of just committed reading, because it moves so briskly, and every single chapter ends with a hook. Like, you just want to keep going. That book is a extremely short but just delectable read.
Okay.
What else did I get you that you haven't touched yet?
The Doma-Key.
Oh, Duma-Key. That's going to be a much longer one, but that's also another one where, like, every chapter is a hook.
Okay.
Like, it's like, oh, fuck, what was that? What did he mean by that? One more chapter. Sparks, the real king was the friends we made along the way. Honestly, that's kind of how the second one ends. I'm not spoiling anything, but it's essentially, and then we all went out and partied.
Nice. Then we got shawarma.
That's the end of part 2. Oh, man. In fact, there's even a part of the second book, Wise Man's Fear, where it's almost like the author himself is talking to you and saying, like, if I write any more about this, I'm never going to get to the main part of the story, so we've got to move on. He's like, there's a whole bunch more tales I could tell you from my time at the magic school, but instead...
That's when the author is just like, fuck, you know what?
Yeah. But the funny
schedule.
thing is, though, like, the magic school is really fucking interesting, and it's like it's like Harry Potter, but everybody's like on drugs and murdering each other. Not really, but it is. It's like Harry Potter with way less of a you know, for kids edge, you know.
Yeah.
But Harry Potter could definitely get into some deep themes.
It got into some deep stuff, like from the 5th book onwards.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it was all about coming to terms with death.
Yeah.
No.
And it was kind of like, hey, my original readers are growing up. So,
Exactly. Yeah.
Like,
but with these books, like he doesn't quite go into like a direct theme like that.
okay.
It's yeah. I don't know how to describe it, but it's a really good story when you finally do check it out.
Okay. I mean, fuck, I'll prioritize it. I'll read at least Gus Marino first, but maybe I'll do the Name of the Wind after that.
Oh hell yeah!
Doom
Did we
McKee will
finally
always
get to
be
play as
there.
A2?
No.
Nope. Fuck you.
There's no time. You two are the last remaining.
I didn't know 2B was getting a whole second story.
To survive.
Is she? I don't know.
This is my.
This is like everyone's story right
I was
now.
gonna say, like, what have we spent the last hour playing?
To the end.
I mean, some 9S was sprinkled in there.
Yeah,
Every
that's
time
true.
2B had to be 9S had to hack into her and destroy the identification chip in her head because she had to start killing androids.
What the fuck? God damn it.
And Chris is like, wait, what? We're killing androids?
This game throws out credits like Tic Tacs, man.
I know, right? This is literally the beginning of the scenario. They're like, we'll just do the credits now.
Yeah. Right. Fucking get used to it, credits.
And it's also just like, you thought the game was over? Well, fuck you.
Right.
Credits roll again.
Credits are meaningless.
The credits are kind of meaningless at this point.
Like, I was gonna say, like, at this point, how am I supposed to ever trust the credits in this game, right?
You can't.
Like when you beat the real final boss and the real credits scroll, like,
you know when you'll know when the game's over, when you have to kill the credits.
right when the credits themselves become a final boss.
Am I joking? I don't know.
Sparks, how many times have you finished this game, lol? Hey,
shit.
we got Rookie BS saying best viewers on StreamBoo.com.
Rookie BS.
Remove the space. That's amazing. These ads are getting so lazy.
Exactly.
Remove the space.
God, are even the bots getting lazy? That's
Yep.
messed up. I think
Thanks,
they're
Sparks.
imitating humanity a little too much. You out of here, Sparks?
Yeah,
All right.
no. Sparks was on top of that. She
Oh,
got rid of
okay.
the bot. It was still funny.
Now these expensive flight units. I need to destroy them.
You're doing like billions of dollars of damage, presumably.
I am.
Alright, enough of this shit.
I don't know if like
9S.
money still exists, but yeah, probably a lot.
I'm getting us out of here.
Enough of this shit.
Okay.
Oh my god. Now that you're a good ways into Rebirth, I want
Yeah.
to say that one of my favorite developments from the remake series is that Cloud just like nonchalantly calls people asshole all the time.
Yeah.
Let's dance, asshole.
Let's dance, asshole.
I
was
would've
surprised.
loved if that was his catchphrase way back on the PS1.
Let's dance, asshole.
Let's dance, asshole.
I wonder if it's like he gets more of his original personality back, like if they're gonna do much with what he says, it's like, and how he sounds. Like, I don't know. I kind of feel like they might not, but I mean, looks like they've, you know, maybe decades old spoilers that like
Yeah.
they kind of showed in the original game with Nanaki, like I'm gonna change how I'm talking from like an old man to like a kid.
Yeah.
And it's like they didn't have voice acting, so it was just like honorifics and stuff.
Yeah,
but,
right.
you know, in the remake, they're actually able to be like, hey, we can change his voice.
Yeah, we can
you know?
absolutely change his voice. That's right.
And so I'm wondering if they're going to do something like that for Cloud, too. Like,
Yeah, I don't know yet,
But-
actually. Though you are starting to see, like, more of, you're starting to see more Zack, right? Where
Yes,
you are in the
yes.
story.
And it's like they're always very short scenarios, which I actually appreciate because he's very limited, and I'm much more invested in, like, Cloud's story.
Right, yeah.
And-
You don't want it to be about Zack. Though at the
About
same
Zack,
time,
too,
though,
yeah.
like,
I'm interested in what the hell's going on there. It seems
Yeah.
like either the comet's going or it's the end of the world in some other way.
one
So-
thing that I don't like about Rebirth, and this isn't even a spoiler because you're seeing it right now, and essentially you're seeing what I've already seen,
Yeah.
is that Cloud is learning about Zack like way too soon, I think. And I guess we'll see how it plays out in part 3.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, like, at this point, they've already told him that, yeah, Zack was with you at Nibelheim, and Zack did this, Zack did that, Zack was there.
I was wondering, like, if it was Cloud that was seeing what was happening with Zack, because the only time they've actually hinted at that is in the Gold Saucer when I first go to sleep.
Yeah.
And it seemed like what I was seeing was a dream of Cloud's. It's like, oh, shit.
I know.
Are they gonna...
Doesn't that piss you off at all? Like,
no, it doesn't piss me off, but I gotta see where they're going with it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, when you get more of it, let me know what you think, but...
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's
that was
also
one of those
just
things
like...
where I was like, it's kind of like... It's kind of like how in the first one, like, Sephiroth showed up, like, 5 minutes into the...
Oh, yeah.
Game and, like, started...
Right after you bombed the reactor, it was a huge thing with Sephiroth. It's like, what?
It's like, okay, let's just remove all of the mystery of this character. I feel like in Rebirth, they're doing the same thing with Zack.
Yeah.
But
blowing their load a little bit. But yeah, I don't know what the second story is about yet so much. But yeah, already just the character of Zack, you know, it's kind of less of a... Because in the original game, it's like you go to the North Crater and you see all of a sudden that same Nibelheim flashback, but now this guy with black poofy hair, and you're like,
yeah, right.
Who the fuck is that? Like... What? Who the fuck is that?
And you know,
there's not going to be any of that anymore.
No, exactly, right. Just by having Zack feature this heavily in Rebirth, that moment, they're going to have to write completely differently because it's...
Oh, yeah.
It's definitely lost all of its impact. Like,
it's not going to hit the same.
No.
And it's like, if they try to do it the same way, it's like, give us some kind of surprise, some kind of like, oh, right. Shit. Because so much of the oh shit in that moment was just like, wait, who is this guy?
Yeah, it's like, that's
you're getting hit by a bunch of different new things.
Yep. And that's what's kind of irked me about the remake series in general, is that so much of the impact, like, I'm trying to imagine, like, if I were a person playing this was my first experience with FF7.
Yeah.
Not only would I be kind of confused as to, like, why we're seeing all of this story with this second character, but, like, when the quote-unquote big reveal happens, I don't feel like it would be that big of a reveal, because they're giving it away well before the story calls for it.
Yeah.
Just like with Sephiroth showing up in Midgar and being the final boss of the first game, like, I still really fucking hate that.
Yeah, I get you.
Like, come on, guys. Like, he's supposed to be this unstoppable, badass, world-ending soldier, and I just fucking trounced him in the first act.
Right? And it's also hard, like, okay, we need to sell this game, you know, so there needs to be... Feels like there's some finality to it. One, it still didn't feel that way. It looked like we just got out of the city, literally.
Right.
Like, it's Escape from the City, the game.
I still think they could have, you know, expanded on the universe a lot and given us a lot of new content without doing anything like the Whispers or having Sephiroth show up in Midgar.
For sure.
Like,
hell, they could do what this game did and be like, next time on Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, well, and I feel like if they had developed, for instance, the character of Roche a little bit more...
Yeah.
And had him be like the pilot of the... the
Mad Wheel or whatever.
Thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that would have been kind of cool. Like,
he would have been your first hurdle. Like,
yeah, it would have been like, you know, this is
cool
the best technology that Shinra has to throw at you. And that's your final boss for the first game. And then, like, right as that's happening, then do, like, a little Sephiroth reveal or something. You know, it's like, as big and powerful as this thing was, yeah, Sephiroth, like, can one-hit it or something like that. That would have been a cool way to end that game, I think. But
I think so.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Too little, too late. Basically what I've decided with Rebirth is I'm gonna enjoy what we have and not think about what I wish it would have been.
I get you. That's how I'm doing Rebirth.
Yeah.
Is it's like they obviously have a new vision. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna try to enjoy this as for the vision that it is, and also appreciate, like, obviously they're remixing stuff that has already been done, and a lot of the time it's really good and really cool. So I want to try to appreciate that too, you know, because sometimes they really hit it out of the park with, like, hey, you remember the what were the mines near Calm?
The what?
adamantite mines, but it was like some kind of stone. But it's like, hey, the mines near Calm.
Oh yeah, the
we're-
mithril mines.
Mithril mines. It's like, we're gonna take this song that no one cares about and make it fucking a banger.
I know,
you know?
right? Yeah.
Or Mount Corel's music was like, why is this so fucking awesome?
Oh yeah,
but yeah.
So I loved Mount Corel, but like I was telling you, I thought that was one of the areas in that game where they kind of lost some of the ambiance that I loved so much in the original. There was that like really almost like quiet, peaceful thing when you were like running over the train tracks and, you know, on your way into Corel. And I feel like in Rebirth, I mean, they expanded it, which was good, but it definitely lost some of that like quiet solitude. You know, it was
For sure.
It was packed with mini games. Cloud had a little freak out moment. It was kind of like the lack of the blood and
With
following
Jenova.
the Jenova trail in the Shinra building for me.
For sure, which was the biggest disappointment, maybe of that game for me. I mean, when a game with a lot of story disappointments.
That's when I knew that the story was going to go in a direction that I wasn't crazy about.
Yeah.
But like when they stopped what I thought was one of the most tense scenes in the entire game.
Oh,
It's like,
hell yeah, dude.
all of a sudden, everyone's dead. The building is stone quiet, and you're following this trail of blood.
This trail of blood.
And they
the
replaced
music
it with
was
a
just
fucking
like
stupid circular
alien goo.
meth lab of Hojo's. Or
Oh,
something.
and then Hojo's drum, fucking, and that was like, yeah, it's like, okay, this
I know
part
they
of
needed a
following
final
Jenova
dungeon,
is not super scary like it was in the first game. So we're gonna make it a horror game in Hojo's lab, and it's
Yeah.
like,
that was so stupid.
it was.
But like they could have just expanded
shit.
on the Shinra building itself, and like instead of, you know, jumping straight up from floor 1 to floor 60, maybe that's where they could have taken the time to like, this is really the final dungeon, you know, like
yeah.
you have to scale up 20 floors of the building, and
They really padded the Shinra building out, like, and the Shinra building even not so much as fucking Hojo's lab, like, did not have to be a thing. Why did I choose? Okay, good. I was like, why did I choose the worst path to get here? Like,
because they actually ended up taking some stuff out of the Shinra building, if I recall correctly, like you know, the Midgar model and the mayor's library and all that stuff. Like, that was kind of cool. Cool stuff.
I liked
or
that
like
they
climbing
changed
into the vents and like spying on the board meeting,
which is such a silly thing. I was like, they're probably going to take this out, and they didn't, and I loved them for that.
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool. And you're right, like Domino's thing, it's like a Watchmen thing, where it's like, this change makes a lot of sense, and it actually fills in almost like a plot hole of the original game. Like, why are they helping you out so much?
Sympathizer, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like, you can always assume, like, hey, they're helping me out because he knows he's a puppet of a bear, and so he hates Shinra, and this is his way of sticking it to them, but it was still, I thought it was still cool that he's like, yes, that, but also, I'm directly involved in Avalanche. Like, okay, cool.
Right. Sparks writes, it's kind of fun to see things change, and I'm looking forward to seeing why. I agree to a certain extent, but some of the changes that they've made, like, it's just not my cup of tea. Like,
I get you.
Really,
and it might, yeah,
like parallel universes happening at the same time. It seems like lazy writing to me.
I know it's not just because you're expecting the same story. You know, I kind
of am, though. Like, that's how they originally advertised the game to us. You know, like, it's going to be FF7, just more of it and with beautiful graphics.
Yeah.
Instead, they're like, no, we're going to take some of these, like, scenes that you're super attached to and, like, these plot beats that are kind of familiar. And, oh, finally. God, that was going on for a while.
That's still there.
It's still happening. Sparks, why Hojo is basically the plot of the game. Yeah. And I will say, like, Hojo was kind of, almost in a weird way, like the true villain of the original game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was a big deal when you finally beat him. That fucking ended disc 2.
Yeah.
Like, it was Hojo and then it was Sephiroth, basically.
Yep.
Oh.
And I mean, like, he was the one who made Sephiroth a monster. He was the one who, you know, wanted to study Jenova and turn things to shit.
Yeah. Yeah, it was the Shinra power company like raising this man up because they needed a good scientist, and he kind of put everything into motion.
Oh shit.
That and finding an alien that, was fucking horrible.
Yeah, right. One
That
thing
was
that
crazy.
Rebirth does pretty well is it shows a little, and you're not gonna get there for a while yet, but it shows more of the history of Genova, which is kind of neat.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
That was one part where I was like, hell yes, this is exactly the kind of stuff that I wanted. But like the relationship of Genova and the Cetra, it's really cool when they finally
cool.
get to that stuff. And it's a shame because it's almost like, clearly like they're capable of like doing all the really neat stuff that we wanted, like just fleshing out the world more and giving us more about these characters, but
yeah, they know like Jesse's side story in the beginning of actually everything about Jesse and Avalanche of like, hey, I'm cool with what they've expanded on.
Oh, absolutely.
Jesse being an actress, but also that first mission where you do meet Roche was really good.
Yep. Yeah, that was all really good. Like that was meaningful, grounded expansion on like the elements of the story that we already knew and loved. Like it was just giving us like more perspective on what was already there, which is what I really wanted from this series.
Yeah.
And we do get that, and I would argue that we get a lot more of that in Rebirth. But there's also still parts that I'm not crazy about.
For sure. I'm excited to talk more once I actually know the ending.
Yeah.
About Rebirth, because I feel like there's a lot here.
Yeah. And don't worry,
and
like
also,
what we've been talking about so far, I haven't given you anything.
Oh no, it's okay. Yeah, I figured. I also don't mind once we're doing that. Once you beat Metaphor, I wouldn't mind knowing about that.
Oh, okay.
Because I feel like it's going to be a while.
Play?
No, I will play it. I'm
cool.
sure I'll play it. But and if there's something that's like, no way, man, you got to experience this for yourself. I get that.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's going to be a while before I play Metaphor, because I really don't want to keep, putting Sea of Stars out of the way too. I really, really want to play that game.
Yeah. And that's one
It's
that won't
high on
take
my
you
list.
very long, actually.
That's true. Yeah, I wouldn't think so.
Oh shit! To be dead.
To be dead.
Shit.
Oh no. To be.
Roll credits.
Yeah, more. You know what this needs? More fucking credits.
Yoko Taro. Everyone's like trying to hide under their desk from him. It's like, we need more credits. Damn it.
Do it. Roll.
That's what
roll
this
that
game
shit.
needs. No.
More credits.
More.
You go to an item shop. You buy like a level 2 iron sword. Credits roll.
The credits destroy the bridge. No. Where are all these credits coming from?
Paid these credits. To answer your question about Metaphor real quick though, the story in that game, it lays out what your objective is within like the first 2 to 3 hours, and you never deviate from that. Like,
okay, you're not thinking there's going to be some crazy.
Yeah.
The game's gone on long enough. There's not going to be I've been doing the wrong thing this whole time.
Right.
Twist.
No, the game definitely has some really crazy twists to it near the end. But it's like all like your goal never deviates. You're out to kill this one fucking dude, and it never deviates from that.
This dude being the Sephiroth of this generation,
essentially, yeah. His name is Count Luis, and he's a fucking Trumper, is what he is.
A very attractive Trumper.
Imagine if Trump were attractive and competent, and that's Luis.
Oh God.
But he's got the same fucking ideas of like, nope, it just needs to be the most powerful on top, and everybody else licks their boots.
Data exchange engaged.
Well, I think I'm going to look forward to talking about all that when you beat that game.
Oh, yeah.
And I think next time on Play the Hits, probably some Sonic Adventure, but the next time when we're doing NieR on Play the Hits, we're going to start the process to climb the Tower of Credits.
Tower credits.
Alrighty.
All right, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Yep.
Should we watch this scene, or what are we doing?
I think, you're not going to be able to get this scene unless I restart the chapter. So, yeah, it shouldn't be too long.
All right.
If the A2 and 9S
Sparks,
units
an
are
attractive,
operational,
competent
we
Trump.
are
Nah,
required to
can't
attend
see it. Me neither,
support.
Sparks.
I know.
That's essentially
There's-
what Luis is, though.
Display
He's...
positions of units A2 and 9S.
Though, like, it's
Mm.
kind of funny. Like, throughout the whole story, I keep waiting for them to make Luis sympathetic in some way. But no, he's just an asshole. He's just a constant, relentless bastard, and that's...
Sometimes that's refreshing.
Yeah, it's kind of nice because you
They don't all have to be Thanos.
you never wonder if, like, killing him is the right thing to do or not.
So I think we could pick up here. Basically, it's just like, actually, I'll let you decide which one I actually support first. But
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
we
so
can
you're
pick
going
up
to have
from
to
here,
play
easy
as both of
peasy.
them again?
Yep.
Regardless?
Yep. We can do
Alright,
A2
well,
first.
next time on Play the Hits, we'll apparently do
It'll-
A2.
Apparently A2, unless you really want to do 9S.
No,
but
let's do A2.
alrighty, next time.
I'm kind of enjoying her
So then,
personality.
command.
Yeah, okay.
She's got a great set of personality.
Shit. Well, yep, on that note.
She
See you
straight up
next
is
time, buddy.
Brea, though. Look at her.
And she is, you're right.
They really
I mean,
borrowed a lot from, like...
A2.
Dude, whoever made... going all the way back to Parasite Eve, that's what I
Yeah.
wanted to say that made me think
Okay.
of A2 here. Whoever made, like, all of the character art and, like, the Parasite Eve promotional art was the
Yeah.
horniest motherfucker.
Yeah. I remember that as a kid, even starting with the first one. It was
Like-
just like, god damn.
Like, the official art in that game is like the hentai of other games.
I mean, straight from the first one, it's just like, here's opera dress, and it's like, whoa.
Well,
It's like, oh, by the way, here's like an extended shower sequence that really adds to the story.
Oh, yeah.
whatever.
Oh, man. All right, next time on Play the Hits, we
What the hell is that huge thing?
see more of that ass.
By the way, I didn't change the camera angle right there, just so everyone knows.
Sure you
But yeah,
didn't.
it was focusing on the tower.
Sparks writes, where is her clothing? Where it needs to
Where's-
be.
There aren't
And
any.
nowhere it doesn't.
Unit A2 should stay.
No, this is basically, it only gets less from here if you go crazy.
Oh, sweet.
But, oh, now that I think about it, there are costumes. Sparks is right. I can,
Don't dress her more.
will I or won't I? I guess next time. On Play
All
the
right,
Hits.
see you then, Mag.
See ya, buddy.
Night, Sparks.
Night, Sparks.